What was weird about Antarctica?
The Antarctic, where
Right.
it's dangerous. It's a long journey. Food's bad. It's like high probability of death. A lot of hard work. Might not make it back.
Antarctica's icy wilderness has long fascinated scientists, explorers, and conspiracy theorists alike.
You can't go to the interior of Antarctica. The runway you land on is straight f***ing ice.
Recently, suspicions have grown, with many wondering if the US government is concealing secrets beneath the frozen expanse.
At the South Pole, there is a bunch of, from my understanding, like pure science going on there.
Among the most captivating theories is the idea that the world's billionaires are covertly uncovering ancient civilizations, possibly as mythical as Atlantis or Lemuria, buried under these miles of ice. But how much of this is fact? Let's dive right in.
Just started to launch some polar satellite.
Who the is that for?
That's Antarctic Research Station.
The meeting of the top 1%. Over the years, we have seen many people who have had genuinely unforgettable visits to Antarctica. One such visit was made by John Kerry, the then Secretary of State of the United States, during his final term in 26, which was shrouded in mystery. To emphasize the importance of this visit, not only was it planned at a very suitable time, but there were also rumored intentions of action. This has given reason to the thinking of conspiracy theorists, who suppose there may be more to it. Another good example is Buzz Aldrin, the great Apollo astronaut who traveled to the South Pole at the age of 86. The justification for the travel was that it was a tourism trip, but Aldrin's NASA record has spawned conspiracies about possible UFO sightings in that area. Prince Harry also visited the South Pole with seriously injured soldiers for a charity event. One may think this was just a charity event, or that there was no more profound reason for the royal visit. In the same way, the head of the Russian Orthodox Church went to a Russian scientific base in Antarctica. What made him do the blessing of the continent? These visits by people from different nations and backgrounds, each with their agendas, indicate that there is more happening on this cold and isolated continent than what is seen at first. This is especially true considering the difficulties and limitations of going to Antarctica. There arise questions as to why these influential people around the globe are willing to spend their time and energy traveling to such a harsh environment, and why their visits often seem covered with secrecy or ambiguity. Is it just a coincidence that these world leaders decided to go to the southernmost tip of the Earth? Or is there something behind the travels that is kept hidden? The hidden world under the ice. Researchers have discovered a never-before-seen ecosystem lurking in an underground river, 1/3 of a mile beneath an Antarctic ice shelf. The team of New Zealand scientists drilled through the ice shelf and dropped a camera into the cavern below. Hundreds of amphipods, tiny shrimp-like crustaceans, swarmed the camera as it descended into the river, reports Live Science's Harry Barker. A statement explains that the subterranean habitat was found beneath the outer edges of the Ross Ice Shelf, the world's largest body of floating ice, on the southern edge of Antarctica during a research project focused on documenting and piecing together how climate change is melting the ice shelf and affecting associated ecosystems. Previous satellite images showed a groove in the ice shelf close to where it met with the land, and the team suspected it was an under-ice estuary. Researchers have long speculated about a network of flowing freshwater lakes and rivers beneath the Antarctic ice sheets, but had yet to explore them, reports Eva Corlett for The Guardian. After the researchers identified it as a subterranean river and gathered at the site in Antarctica, they drilled down 1,640 feet below the ice's surface, using a specialized hot water drill system developed at Victoria University of Wellington to melt the ice. Soon after they reached the hidden cavern, the team sent the camera down. Initially, all they saw was blurry flecks that looked like detritus floating around. A quick camera focus showed that it was actually living crustaceans, reports Live Science. National Institute of Water and Atmospheric Research marine physicist Craig Stevens said in the statement that in a normal experiment, seeing one of these things would have you leaping up and down for joy. We were inundated. Having all those animals swimming around our camera means there's an important ecosystem process happening there, which we will do more research on by analyzing water samples to test for things like nutrients. Aside from the discovery of the amphipods, the team found that the water column split into 4 to 5 distinct layers of water flowing in different directions, Live Science reports. Water is often found in distinct layers that do not easily mix due to differences in temperature and salt content. As Antarctic ice shelves float, water constantly circulates underneath them, coming in and out of the open ocean. Some of the water columns are warm and can cause ice shelves to melt, per the statement. While the research team was observing the underwater river, the Hunga Tonga Hunga Ha'apai volcano in the South Pacific erupted from late December 2021 to mid-January 2022, causing a tsunami. The scientists picked up on pressure changes in the underground cavity from this event. Seeing the effect of the Tongan volcano, which erupted thousands of kilometers away, was quite remarkable, Stevens said in the statement. It is also a reminder about just how connected our whole planet is. As scientists continued to explore the secrets of this hidden planet under ice, they found another shocking discovery of countless meteorite graveyards. Meteorites found in Antarctica. Scientists recently scooped up one of the heaviest meteorites ever discovered in Antarctica, as well as 4 other frozen space rocks that likely crashed into the icy continent thousands of years ago. The researchers found the mini horde of meteorites on the surface of the Niels Larsen Blue Ice Zone near the Belgian-owned Princess Elizabeth Antarctica Station. Of the 5 meteorites, the standout was a cantaloupe-sized rock that weighed a whopping 16.7 pounds. Of the 45,000 meteorites discovered in Antarctica, only around 100 have been as heavy as this cosmic cannonball. Size doesn't necessarily matter when it comes to meteorites, and even tiny micrometeorites can be incredibly scientifically valuable, expedition scientist Maria Valdez, a meteoriticist at the Field Museum in Chicago, said in a press statement. The meteorites were found on the surface of the ice in early January, but they did not crash to Earth recently. Instead, the space rocks were likely buried in the ice for thousands of years and resurfaced only after the churning motion of glaciers brought them back to the surface. But because the meteorites were shielded from precipitation, wind, and air beneath the ice, they were still perfectly intact, according to the researchers. The objects come from the asteroid belt located between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter and probably plopped down into the Antarctic blue ice several tens of thousands of years ago. Expedition scientist Ryoga Maida, a doctoral student at the Free University of Brussels, told Belgian news site The Brussels Times. Scientists have to scour the ice sheets in hopes of stumbling across a meteorite. But the researchers were able to narrow down their search thanks to a study published on January 26, 2022, in the journal Science Advances, which used satellite data and a type of artificial intelligence called machine learning to identify parts of Antarctica where meteorite clusters were more likely to be brought to the surface. It was in one of those hot spots that the newfound meteorites were discovered. But even with a specific location to search, it still took a lot of hard work to find the meteorites. Vinciane de Baile, a geochemist at the Free University of Brussels, said in the statement that the reality on the ground is much more complex than the beauty of satellite images. The team covered a large area, which was strewn with other non-meteorite rocks of similar shapes and sizes. CNN reported that the researchers were constantly fooled by meteor rongs, which looked identical to space rocks, but were much lighter and originated on Earth. The meteorite samples collected during the expedition were sent to the Royal Belgian Institute of Natural Sciences in Brussels to be properly thawed and analyzed. Still, according to the statement, each expedition scientist also took back samples of potential meteorite dust, which they collected from around the fallen space rocks for their research. The expedition was the first to search one of the potential meteorite hotspots highlighted by the 2022 satellite studies. The team's success suggests that the study could be used by other researchers to recover even more frozen meteor fragments. In the study, researchers estimated that as many as 300,000 meteorites could lie in wait on the surface of the ice, meaning only around 15% have been recovered to date. The expedition team hopes more meteorites can be found to help us learn more about our cosmic neighborhood. Studying meteorites helps us better understand our place in the universe, Valdez said. The bigger a sample size we have of meteorites, the better we can understand our solar system and ourselves. There have been many theories and rumors about some old cultures and civilization in this remote part of the world. This subsequent discovery sheds more light on this theory. Ancient civilizations found in Antarctica. A groundbreaking archaeological discovery has been announced in Antarctica. Researchers have uncovered the remains of a massive stone structure and other artifacts dating back approximately 4,000 years. This is the first evidence of an ancient civilization on the icy continent, marking a significant milestone in the field of archaeology. The discovery was made by a team led by geologist Scott Amundsen of Wyoming State University. While exploring near Doubleday Glacier, the team stumbled upon the remnants of a stone building roughly the size of Rome's ancient amphitheater. The structure had been hidden beneath the glacier's ice for centuries due to the glacier's recent retreat. The team worked non-stop under harsh Antarctica conditions to dig the site. Their effort was finally rewarded by the discovery of a large columned structure that may have risen some 30 meters high. Hundreds of artifacts were also discovered, including coins, peanut shells, and what appear to be baseball bats and balls. The discovery has stunned experts, who had previously believed that Antarctica was uninhabited until the 19th century. While some remain skeptical, many archaeologists and historians are hailing this find as one of the most significant archaeological discoveries of the century. The newfound evidence suggests that ancient civilizations may have been more widespread and technologically advanced than previously thought. Antarctica mysteries don't end with geopolitical intrigue or the VIP guest list. The land holds secrets that shock scientists and adventurers. But beneath the ice of this enigmatic lake lies an even more intriguing secret, a hidden mountain beneath this frozen continent. The ghost mountain Gomburtsev. The Gomburtsev mountain range is subglacial in East Antarctica, just underneath the lofty Dome A, near the southern pole of inaccessibility. The range was discovered by the Third Soviet Antarctic Expedition in 1958 and is named for Soviet geophysicist Grigory A. Gomburtsev. It is approximately 1,200 kilometers, which is 750 meters long, and the mountains are believed to be about 2,700 meters, which is 8,900 feet high. However, they are entirely covered by over 600 meters of ice and snow. The Gomburtsev mountain range is about the same size as the European Alps. As of 2008, it was unknown how the mountains were formed due to the lack of data. Studies conducted during the International Polar Year demonstrated that ancient plate collisions produced a core that was rejuvenated in the early to mid-Mesozoic. The main features of the range formed 34 million years ago when the area was covered by the present ice sheet. Current models suggest that the East Antarctic ice sheet was formed from the glaciers that began sliding down the Gomburtsev range at the end of the Eocene. Vostok subglacial highlands form an east extension of the Gomburtsev subglacial mountains. As part of the 2007 to 2009 International Polar Year, the AGAPE project was a multinational effort to gather information about the Gomburtsev mountain chain. The result of the 2007 to 2009 study has found that the Gomburtsev are very old, first forming around 1 billion years ago when continental drift pushed two plates together to form the supercontinent of Rodinia. This early range was eroded above the surface, but left a deep cold root, which is visible today in seismic images, reaching down into the Earth's mantle. About 250 to 100 million years ago, the crust started to pull apart in a series of rifting events close to the east of this old root. A forked rift valley runs along the northern side of the mountains, containing lakes Sovetskaya and 90 East within it. This rifting warmed and rejuvenated the root, giving it the buoyancy to be lifted up to re-establish the mountains as an 800-kilometer-long massif. Further uplift was still achieved as deep valleys were later cut by erosion, lightening the overall mass of the system. Around 35 million years ago, the glaciers merged to form the East Antarctic ice sheet, burying the Gamburtsev Range in the process. It's not just mountains that the strange land has. It also has one of the largest lakes in the world, the Strange Lake in Antarctica. Lake Vostok is the largest of Antarctica's 675 known subglacial lakes. Lake Vostok is located at the southern pole of cold, beneath Russia's Vostok Station, under the surface of the central East Antarctic ice sheet, which is at 3,488 meters, which is 11,444 feet above mean sea level. The surface of this freshwater lake is approximately 4,000 meters under the surface of the ice, which places it at approximately 500 meters, which is 1,600 feet below sea level. Measuring 250 kilometers long by 50 kilometers wide at its widest point, it covers an area of 12,500 kilometers square, making it the 16th largest lake by surface area. With an average depth of 432 meters, it has an estimated volume of 5,400 cubic kilometers, making it the 6th largest lake by volume. The lake is divided into two deep basins by a ridge. The liquid water depth over the ridge is about 200 meters, compared to roughly 400 meters, which is 1,300 feet deep in the northern basin and 800 meters deep in the southern. The lake is named after Vostok Station, which in turn is named after the Vostok, a sloop of war, which means east in Russian. The existence of a subglacial lake in the Vostok region was first suggested by Russian geographer Andrei Kapitsa, based on seismic soundings made during the Soviet Antarctic expeditions in 1959 and 1964 to measure the thickness of the ice sheet. The continued research by Russian and British scientists led to the final confirmation of the lake's existence in 1993 by J.P. Ridley using ERS, 1 laser altimetry. The overlying ice provides a continuous paleoclimatic record of 400,000 years, although the lake water itself may have been isolated for 15 to 25 million years. On February 5, 2012, a team of Russian scientists completed the longest ever ice core of 3,768 meters and pierced the ice shield to the lake's surface. The first core of freshly frozen lake ice was obtained on 10 January 2013 at a depth of 3,406 meters. However, as soon as the ice was pierced, water from the underlying lake gushed up the borehole, mixing it with the freon and kerosene used to keep the borehole from freezing. A new borehole was drilled, and an allegedly pristine water sample was obtained on January 2015. The Russian team plans to eventually lower a probe into the lake to collect water samples and sediments from the bottom. It is hypothesized that unusual forms of life could be found in the lake's liquid layer, a fossil water reserve. Because Lake Vostok may contain an environment sealed off below the ice for millions of years, the conditions could resemble those of ice-covered oceans hypothesized to exist on Jupiter's moon Europa and Saturn's moon Enceladus. Mysterious missions have taken place in this frozen wasteland, but speculations about a hidden camp have always been well discussed, the hidden Nazi camp. The discussion about the Nazi base in Antarctica that has been going on for decades has led to a lot of ideas, from extraterrestrial involvement to secret government projects. Neumayer Station 3 has a much more interesting story than we had ever thought about, but a new study has revealed some interesting facts about this mysterious place. The base is in the western part of the Antarctic Peninsula, renowned for being one of the coldest places on Earth. The temperature there reaches as low as -5 degrees Fahrenheit, and the area is completely covered in miles of big ice sheets, which are the landscape's most powerful features. The Nazi Germans established a permanent base in Antarctica during World War II, hiding their activities from the public eye so as not to be interfered with. Being aware that letting their enemies know about their plans could trigger resistance from the latter, the base's existence was kept a secret from the masses. Only a few years later, the Allies discovered this mystery Nazi redoubt, which was followed by the finding that, in keeping with the Nazi concept of explorations, a ghost ship from a German exploratory voyage in the early 90s was described frighteningly. To map the Antarctic coastline and the Southern Ocean, these German explorers went out on adventures. Unfortunately, an ice shelf collapsed, trapping them under the ice for several years, until their last rescue in 1913. As a result of this, they were forced to end their journey sadly. The ship can be seen even now, being anchored on an iceberg, close to where it was first discovered, with provisions for a second German mission that could never leave that area. The food ration, tools, firearms, and personal belongings like the letters of love are among the items found. While rumors of a hidden Nazi camp in Antarctica have captured imaginations for decades, there's an even more extraordinary secret waiting to be unveiled: the hidden landscape beneath the continent's icy surface. The hidden landscape, frozen in time. A team of researchers has unveiled a hidden geological marvel, a sprawling terrain of hills and valleys shaped by ancient rivers, concealed beneath the Antarctic ice for over 34 million years. This colossal landscape, surpassing the size of Belgium, has remained untouched, frozen in time, until now. However, the scientists caution that escalating global warming poses a potential threat to its continued preservation. Professor Stuart Jameson, the lead author of the study and a glaciologist at Durham University, underscored the significance of this revelation, noting that it had been hiding in plain sight, discovered not through new data, but rather a fresh approach. The land beneath the East Antarctic ice sheet, he stated, remains less explored than the surface of Mars. To delve into its secrets, planes employ radio echo sounding, sending radio waves through the ice and analyzing the resulting echoes. Given Antarctica's vast expanse, this method presents a formidable challenge. The researchers circumvented this obstacle by employing existing satellite images of the surface, allowing them to discern the contours of valleys and ridges more than 1.6 miles beneath. The undulating ice surface forms a spectral overlay, concealing the more rugged features below. When combined with radio echo sounding data, a vivid image emerged of a landscape sculpted by ancient rivers, featuring plunging valleys and sharply peaked hills, reminiscent of Earth's surface formations. While determining the last time sunlight graced this hidden world poses a challenge, the researchers estimate it to be at least 14 million years. As the scientist solves this frozen landscape, a new mysterious garden surfaces, leaving scientists to wonder about it. Garden of Mysteries. The scientists started an amazing journey to the East Antarctic to screen a lost data logger. Despite their intentions, the insatiable curiosity of explorers led them to find something even more unexpected than they ever imagined. Below the frozen, harsh exterior, in the absolute darkness of the tundra covering the Antarctic Ocean floor, they were about to witness the delightful show. Dwelling under the ice, a coral reef of tropical species disappeared from our eyes. Under these difficult circumstances, a dauntless community of starfish, sponges, worms, and algae emerged, resistant to severe situations. These animals had developed to live in the freezing sea, and the ice sheets served as a buffer against the bitterness of the natural elements. It is captivating to see how a diverse ecosystem can support such abundant and hard-to-reach life in this extreme corner of our planet. It reveals that organisms have amazing abilities, even if they live in the most hostile situations on Earth. The breathtaking view of the glacier-submerged world, where astonishment and curiosity stand beside each other in a peaceful dialogue, speaks about the variety of life and endurance, even in the strangest places. Amidst the traitorous to anathema, one finds a kaleidoscope of